Book 1, Bazur's Plot, Chapter 42 and 43. Chapter 42, Third Woods, North Side. I woke up early. The library was dark, with the small night light in the corner giving enough light so that if someone needed to move around, they would not hit anything and wake up others. I got up quietly, but it was useless since Dora came in and woke up everyone, just shining light like a daylight. He said, "Good morning. It's time to wake up and go to the breakfast." We are leaving right after that. We walked to the lobby to pick up our breakfast and went outside to eat. While eating breakfast, we split into two groups again. Tara started to give directions for us. Tara said, "The ladies group on my lead, we will go to Holo Holo village. We're here closer. And Dora, you will lead the gents group to the harbor Tide Dwarf Haven village." Everyone got up and started to gather into the front yard. There were 4 carriages waiting for us. I guess we would still be having the benefit of these lovely transports still today. All the Moorbearns and Capricors were also grouped into 3 groups in the front yard, just like yesterday, I assume. I didn't see the transports leaving yesterday. There were 3 white goddesses valets who were clearly leading their groups and creating lines from awakened ones to be transported to their homes. That was great, since even though Palace was huge and yesterday many had returned to their homes, it was starting to be very crowded. The first groups were clearly negotiated based on where the homes were and who was transported to the same area. Jack and I waved to Moorbearns and Capricors, who very quickly smiled at us, but were concentrating on the task in hand. Some of the creatures were looking very shocked by Moorbearns' transport when they were climbing to their back. Tara noticed me and said, "Yes, well, we normally never ride any creatures. That is very disrespectful. This is now a different time, and these 3 Moorbearns have gracefully agreed that it is okay to do so. To be fair, it is the fastest way to transport anyone here in Myria, unless we would be able to use the fairy magic and move everyone exactly where they live. However, it seems that even fairies do it like that. They must have visual connection between the places. I don't really know that magic. Maybe you already understand how it works, Sarah." I shook my head. "Well, it's hard for me to say if I could move anything out of sight. At least for now, I must see the end place clearly." We saw first Moorbearn Garnock speed up and a group of Capricors taking the first set of these awakened ones into their new hidden homes. Just when we started to get up into our carriages, we saw all Myrias walk to front yard. They were carrying a lot of food and some materials. I saw Svala and asked, "Are you going back to the Bottle Jump Hollow?" "I thought you were only going to leave tomorrow," Svala smiled. "Yes, we are. But since today is the day that we're not needed here, and Palace is so full with awakened ones that it is almost about to crack open, we decided to go today. There's so many of us that will help Palace a lot. And we want to go back to our puddle jump. I, Eireker, and Train will be back here for evening, so you do not need to wait for us in the morning." They all looked so happy. Home is home. Even if you have been a stone for centuries, home is home. Tara asked, "Do you want to have the 2 carriages to take you to Puddle Jump Hollow?" "We will not need all 4 right now. We just take one each." Eireker looked at the Myrias and said, "Well, we were planning to walk, but it would be actually good to take the 2 carriages and get there in a few minutes and start cleaning and getting houses selected for each family. We have a lot to do today." Tara smiled. "It is settled then. Take the 2 carriages, and once you have unloaded yourself, tell one carriage to find Tara and the other one to find Dora." The carriages were already set up to go to Holo Holo. Dora asked Tara, "We are we start scanning from where the road splits to Hollow Hollow. So we will ride there in full speed. The High Dwarf Haven is further away. So you take the road from the palace to Crossroads too. Is that all right for you? Tara and I nodded. Tara said, yes, for sure. No problem. You go. Your village is further away. We got up to our carriage, and Tara asked me, Sarah, you need to scan now both ways. So do you want to sit in the middle and try to guide, and I'll try to guide the carriage? Sylvester and Elven can relax for a moment. I'm sure this is a short time before we find some cursed ones again. Valets came about waving their hands toward us. Maybe they needed something. Both our carriages were waiting for what was up. Myria's with the two carriages had already left a couple of minutes ago. Again, I don't think the time here is the same than Earth, so I don't know about minutes. But I don't really care either. We saw two Varkuns, the silent kinds, walking behind the valets. Ah, they were coming too, to help. Ah, that was lovely. They were very strong and especially good at helping Eleven and Sylvester, who were much shorter than Tim and Tom. Tim peeked his head out of the carriage and said, Go with the ladies, Varkers. They need more help than us. We manage ourselves. Their carriage speeded out from the yard almost instantly after the word. Varkens caught up with Elovin and Sylvester, and off we went too. The carriage started to go brisk walking speed forward, so I could scan both sides to the road. It was a little hard to stare in the middle of the road, so that eyes were able to see both sides of the road. But after a while, I got used to it. We did not expect that any cursed ones would be found very close to the palace. The terrain was always changing and different, so anywhere around the corner of the palace would be basically possibility for Bazur to visit and curse creature or two. So I needed to check. Chapter 43. Hello, hello. There were no cursed ones, Tara asked. Is the speed okay? I replied, yes, there is just nothing here, or at least yet. Tara laughed a little. Well, maybe I'm not used to that anymore. It was just nice to sit there in silence and scan the road. I saw the crossroads ahead of me, and I asked Tara to stop, and I got off. There was a clearly at left and right before crossroads, cursed ones, and I could see that the road leading to Tidewharf Heaven was clear. So Jack had probably already done that. It seemed to me that all the sites before and after crossroads were having one or two cursed ones in groups. Since I didn't see anything sinister, I uncursed them and continued to walk forward. I walked alone from others, leaving others who were helping the awakened ones to the carriage, maybe 20 meters. It was a very brief touch. I felt a very brief touch in my shoulder, and I saw Fumefolk moving by me. Sarah raised her voice a little so I could hear her. Fumefolks do not like you being alone. Let me come with you. I looked at the grey shadow going around me and said, Thank you, Fumefolk. I did not mean to make you worry. Thank you for taking care of my safety. I waited for Tara to catch up, and we continued forward. We heard shortly the carriage slowly moving behind us. It was not yet full enough so that it would be going back to the palace. We made it to a small village, almost like East Coast Third Wood, almost at the East Coast at the Third Wood, without anything bizarre happening. We had sent one carriage back to the palace a couple times, so we did find a couple awakened ones, but nothing special. But right now the carriages were not full. It just felt better to send them half full since they were a couple more elderly and they were not doing so well when awakened from the curse. This was so easy way to do this uncursing with the carriages, I have to admit. We saw a very, very funny looking village ahead of us. It had homes like half buried to the ground, and ahead between the houses I could see the sea. It looked lovely. We had not seen villages that were this close to the sea yet. At least I hadn't. Tara said, "This is a hollow village. It's named so since the houses you see are half underground. They can actually be quite big underground, so you have a task cut out for you there. Thankfully, we have about a dozen houses only here. I really have, I really have always liked this village." She looked sad. I asked Tara, "Why are you sad?" Tara looked at me and said, "Well, all these villages make me sad. So deserted. They used to be so vibrant and full of laughter." I looked at the village and said, "I see. I will see them as such, uh, and we will soon make a Bazur's bad plot go away, and everything will go back to whimsical and fun again." Tara smiled. I got up from the carriage again and I started my task of scanning. Tara was just behind me, so nobody would be left alone at this time. So I asked her, "Do we have a whole tribe or village missing from here? Do you know?" Tara said, "This is a mixed tribe village, so there should be one tribe with multiple different creatures. And yes, I think there will be many found here." That ended up being an understatement. Every house had the inhabitants cursed in the house or outside it. Also, a few teenagers and kids were at the shore at the small beach. That was scary since those kids' stones were little. So to think that they would have been washed away to the sea. I said to Tara when I found 3 more small tones by the beach, "We need to ask the creatures in the carriages that are we missing anyone?" Tara looked at me and she realized what I meant. Oh, if somebody is washed away, that we need to still scan around. Okay, let me ask Varkuns and let me ask Varkuns to be with you, and I will go ask. Tara came back and said that it seems that 5 are missing, so you just awakened 3 now. So that means that we are missing 2. Can you check the beach a little bit further away? A little bit further away toward the wood. Varkun, please follow her very closely. If that does not work, then we will need to think what we will do. There was one elf mother coming toward us from the carriages, and she said quietly with the tears running on her face, "My babies are missing." Well, they are not really babies anymore. 2 twin rascals who always got into trouble, but they are so brave too. I froze and looked at her. Brave? Her tears were fading a little, and she answered, "Yes, does that matter?" I started to walk toward the sea again, and I said to Varkon and Tara, "I have a feeling. I have a feeling." Tara said, "I don't know what feeling, but follow it." We walked all 4, the elf mother was following us too, to the pier. The pier was long and it had some boats in good and some in little bad condition, but tied to it still. Clearly not maintained since Bazur had cursed the whole village. The last boat on the right. That's where I want to go. There were 4 oars, and I was sure that those 2 oars were the missing twins. Yes, they were living. I started uncursing. The elf mother cried out loud, "My boys!" when the curse started to lift. She was crying, laughing, and trying to get into the boat. The boys who just woke up thought they were probably in trouble and were trying to jump to the sea. When, thankfully, Elf Mother catch them from their necks and lifted them to the pier. Tara laughed and said, "Let me give them a remedy, and then we can go back to the palace." We all piled up in the carriages. I told Tara to send the other one to the palace straight away and let us do brisk walking speed still back. And I still can scan the creatures in the trees. Remember, we had them too earlier. Tara nodded and off we went. And indeed, I asked after a few moments after we left Hollow Hollow village to stop. There was something in a couple trees quite high up. I felt similar those squirrel types of animals we met earlier, very small. I asked Sylvester, who was in the carriage, "Do we have anyone who could climb up there and give me properly sticks or some sort from that nest to uncurse?" Varkun jumped down and signaled Sylvester to come down. Sylvester and I looked at the silent kind very curiously. They seemed not to talk, so we needed to understand from their gestures what they want and what they meant. Sylvester got down and Varkun lifted Sylvester to the tree branch with his long arms. Sylvester squeaked, but then she laughed. I asked, "Are you all right?" Sylvester nodded. "I just did not expect that. Thank you, Varkun. That was a smart idea. Can you just stay close so if I lose my balance so you can catch me?" Varkun nodded. Sylvester reached into the nest and found 5 sticks. I said, "Sylvester, there are 6 together. Can you check once more?" I started to awaken the found sticks in the meanwhile. Varkun took the awakened ones from me and lifted them back to Sylvester. When she turned back with the last stick in her hand and with a happy face. "Found the last one." Once all the creatures were awakened and given 2 different kinds of remedies. Tara explained the situation and asked, "Do you want to come with us to the palace? We met similar kinds of creatures than you earlier, and they did not. So I asked what you want to do." She was handing the Varkun food to be lifted up to the nest for them, just to be sure. As expected, the elder one said, "No, we want to stay here in the trees." I said, "I assume there is a couple other trees nests close by. So we will check them and also leave food for them as well. So you can take care of each other." The creature that looked something like a squirrel or beaver looked super happy and made funny noises that I interpreted to being really happy. There were indeed altogether 5 trees, which were cursed ones. We awakened them too, gave remedies and food to help them to recover. When we got up to the carriage, we returned to the palace, and I said to Tara, "We can go running speed now." When we were about to return to the palace, I said to Tara, "We can go running speed now. I will scan on the way back, but I think there is no one to be found anymore today." "Is it lunchtime?" Tara laughed. "Sure, I will tell the carriage. And yes, we are actually about an hour late for lunch. No wonder you are asking about it."